Patreon.com/the Walk-Off Podcast. $4 a month gets you in there.
Baseball America just released their top 100 prospects going into the 2023 season. Now, how many Toronto Blue Jays are in this top 100? I'm going to tell you right now, it's only one. So we just watched Gabriel Moreno get traded to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Gabriel Moreno was actually all the way up to the number 3 prospect in all of baseball when he was moved. But it does kick one of those Toronto Blue Jays out of that top 100 that there was. So I think we all know who is the Toronto Blue Jays in the top 100. Of course, he's the Blue Jays' number 1 prospect, Ricky Tiedemann, 19-year-old left-hander.
Well, and the way that the show notes were sent to me, I didn't realize this was going to be a big reveal. So I just put Ricky Tiedemann on the overlay this morning. So
love it.
There was definitely no build-up or tension or surprise
as I gave that
for anybody
spiel.
watching as you gave that spiel, because literally it's Ricky Tiedemann highlighted in red on the screen right now. So
the good news for all you audio folks is, oh boy, wasn't that reveal fun?
Tense.
Baby,
Who could it be?
So Ricky Tiedemann comes in at the number 31 spot. 19-year-old left-handed pitcher, finished last year with, was it AAA Buffalo he wound up pitching in for the last couple games there? Or was it the AA?
It was New Hampshire at the end of the year.
It was the Fisher Cats at the end of the year. Okay, so he finished the season with AA. I think we are going to see him, obviously, in AAA, probably right out of the gate. I think they're going to test his mettle, just see where he's at, how he handles obstacles. This is one of the biggest things with development in young players, right? Is just seeing how they deal with failure. This was a really interesting thing. We talked to Robert DiBernardo, head of the mental performance department with the Toronto Blue Jays. And he really talked a lot about being able to take failures and turn them into teachable moments to allow you to continue to build a base for future wins. And so when it comes to development, this is what they want to see these kids doing, right? I know that when we had Taylor Sacedo on the show, this was one thing he brought up. He was with that New Hampshire Fisher Cats team that won it all back in 2018 with literally almost everyone that was a core member of this Blue Jays team last year. Lourdes was on that team, Vladdy and Biggio and Bo. And I mean, the list goes on and on of members, big league members. And that's one of the things we talked about in that Sacedo interview, by the way, when we released that, is how many big leaguers wound up being on that 2018 team. But anyways, what Sacedo was saying was that he had a moment where he literally melted down. He flipped out. He was throwing his glove. He was pouting. He was frustrated. And John Schneider, manager of that Fisher Cats team, waited, let him calm down, and then came up to him and was like, hey, Sauce, we need you to come into the office here for a second. And basically it was like, listen, man, you know you are one of our favorites. You always put in the effort. But if you do shit like that again, we're going to need to cut you. There's no place in this organization for that kind of behavior. And so the next day, Sauce came into the dressing room. He apologized to the entire team. And it was funny. He talked about Jordan Romano also on that team, right? And he never minces his words, as Sauce says. So he comes up to him and he was like, man, by the way, like, thanks for apologizing, but God, you were a baby last night, just a baby. So this is the thing, right? When it comes to these young kids, it's important to see how they react to getting pulled, how they react to getting blown up, how they react to failure. And if they do react in a way that doesn't fit in with the culture of the team, it allows the coaches, it allows these guys within the organization that are there to teach and help build these young men up, to take them aside and be like, listen, this is not how we would like to see this play out. So I think Ricky Tiedemann starting in AAA is going to be excellent for him. Now, yes, there was only one guy in this top 100 for Baseball America. However, there are truly 4 more prospects in this Blue Jay system that we very well could see in the top 100 come their July release midseason. So now that you who are watching on YouTube don't have all these 4 names up in front of you, there is a reveal here. Look at this, Adam.
There is a reveal coming, yes.
So let's talk the other big left-handed pitcher. He was taken in the first round by the Blue Jays last year, Brandon Barriera. This kid is 18 years old, Adam. He actually doesn't turn 19 until March. So he's just a baby, but he's probably going to get some time in the Florida State League. And my guess is they're going to try to get him to Vancouver as quickly as possible. He may wind up staying in Vancouver, very similar to Kloffenstein, Adam Kloffenstein, for a couple years. You never know how these guys are going to develop. However, a ton of hype around Barriera, and he very well, with a good performance, could wind up in that top 100. Another guy to keep an eye on is going to be Addison Barger. Now, what would stop Addison Barger from making this top 100 list would be if he makes the Blue Jays out of spring training.
That wasn't my guess. My guess was a high ransom kidnapping.
Okay, so let's clarify. Both of those would prevent him from.
Fingers crossed for neither one.
Yes, exactly. Well, fingers crossed he makes the team. That'd be cool for him.
Right?
Absolutely. But if we got to call in Liam Neeson to,
Go
do
find
a
Addison
Taken
Barger.
4. Yeah.
There we go.
So Addison Barger, he plays shortstop, he plays second base, he plays third base. He's very versatile. He's got a little time in left field, and he's on the 40-man roster. With a really good showing in AAA, I think he could break into that top 100 in Baseball America. But it is likely that due to a bad taco or two, he gets called up to the Blue Jays, and with a good showing on the Jays, I think they keep him around.
Well, we have talked to people much wiser than us who feel very strongly that Addison Barger could be a contributing
League
Blue
ready.
Jay
Yeah.
right away. So I do think spring training is going to be a big factor for him. We'll see what kind of conditioning he shows up in. You have to assume it's going to be good. If he plays hot, I mean, we saw guys have big spring trainings before that really impacted their role, put them on the, I don't want to say on the radar, but like a guy like Josh Palacios, friend of the
Yes.
show, by the way, who wasn't necessarily even a name being thrown around as a guy who could be the up and down fifth outfielder for the Blue Jays, but had a massive spring training. And
Yes.
all of a sudden it was like, hey, maybe this guy just took some big steps in the offseason and looks ready now. So kind of comes out of nowhere.
That's a great example, Adam. That's a great example. Of course,
So I'm
all the best to Josh Palacio, as he is a major leaguer now in Washington, which is very cool.
So I think a preseason, a spring training like that from Addison Barger could go a long way to just securing his spot on this team. Of course, Alek Manoah, we remember too, his rookie season. Most Blue Jays fans had never even heard of him until he started throwing and dominantly in spring training, right? And then all of a sudden it was like, oh shit, is this guy going to just make the team? And of course they decided, no, let's send him down to AAA for a bit, but it wasn't long. And
Alek Manoah's got to be one of the most interesting kind of asterisk names you could possibly mention, just with that COVID season being canceled, and he had pitched so little in 2019, and then 2021 came along and he just literally dominated from the moment he stepped on that minor league mound in AAA. He wasn't even supposed to start the season in AAA. Like, I remember when they were talking about calling him up, both you and I, Adam, were like, don't do it. Like, oh my goodness, like his development is going so well. Like, he's only got whatever it was, 70 innings of pro ball under his belt.
Can I say something? And this is maybe me showing how much of a bozo I am. I still stand by that take. I think that the risk, like, we gambled by bringing him up when we did, and of course it has worked out.
Oh yeah,
but
I wouldn't have it any other way now.
99% long shot is still a bad idea most of the
even
time.
If it works out,
even if it works out, it just felt like it was a long shot out of that we didn't need to take. It was just risky. That I don't know. Anyways, I'm glad it worked out. But
me too, and it did open my eyes to, oh yeah, I forgot. Of course, the Blue Jays brass knows more about what's going on with the development of a player than we do. But I still,
it was a good reminder, wasn't it?
Right? It's like, "Oh, yeah, we're idiots."
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's why we're not getting cup holders in the 500s.